Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Abdimalik Maalim, and I welcome you to Diverse Narratives, a new podcast run by me, Abdimalik, and occasionally I'll be having a co-host. Her name is Michelle Bourne. Hello, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. So let me first talk about why I wanted to start this podcast, and then I'll have Michelle jump in, and we're going to be talking about how we met and what role she'll be playing in this podcast. Okay. First of all, for me, I've been doing photography and videography since I was in 11th grade in high school. That's when I first got interested in photography and videography. And fast forward, I started running my own media production business, and that just continued on, my passion for making content and stuff like that. And I also enjoy talking to people. So throughout the time that I was doing the photography and videography, I got to meet a lot of individuals who had incredible stories, especially with one of the nonprofit organizations that I was working with. They had me do interview. They had me interview individuals who were from different parts of the world, and through that, I was so fascinated by their story, and I always wanted to hear the full story. But due to the content that I was doing for them being not too long, it was mostly just a promotional thing to just showcase the individuals that they serve and stuff like that. I didn't get the opportunity to really talk to them and get to know their full story. That basically kickstarted my passion or my interest in wanting to do a podcast where I can really sit down with those individuals, and not just those individuals that are from different parts of the world, but even the people that are from here in Maine, everybody that has incredible stories or have overcome some type of challenges and stuff like that. I think there's so much that we can learn from everybody's stories. So I was like, you know what, I need to start some type of podcast that highlights individuals that are doing incredible things within the community. And I think there's something that each person that watches or listens this podcast can take from. So that's basically what kind of got me to be interested in starting a podcast. 4 years, fun fact, okay? 4 years ago, I actually ran a trial session of the podcast, which you might not even know about.
I did not know that.
Yes. So I started the podcast. It had a different name and stuff like that. I started the podcast. At that time, I did not have like these fancy cameras and this fancy microphone and stuff like that, because that was before my media production business kind of took off. So at the beginning, so I couldn't afford the equipment that needed to be able to produce something high quality like this. That podcast went really well, but it was just at a time in my life where I was not really ready for it because I had so much going on. I was working 2 jobs, and I was still doing this, but I just had so much going on at that time.
I just have a question about the fun fact.
Yes.
Is it somewhere on YouTube? Where can I watch this old school Abdimalik first run podcast?
You don't want to see that, Michelle.
I definitely do. I do.
So I had
for my arsenal of footage and things that I can hold over you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to let you weaponize that against me, but no, seriously, it used to be on my YouTube channels. I run a couple of different YouTube channels, but my biggest issue was like staying consistent with them because
Sure.
I have so much going on. I still want to do the YouTube thing, but that podcast, I ended up taking it down because I don't think I did justice to the individuals that I interviewed in those podcasts because their stories were incredible. Okay.
Cool.
So I plan on having those individuals back on this podcast,
Ooh.
this one. Plus, this one, I have a long-term goal for it. Okay. That one, it was just, let's see how it goes.
Sure.
This one, I invested so much money and time into it to be able to have this space that is, so far, I've been getting a lot of good compliments, except you telling me how horrible it looks.
Listen, I did not do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No, but seriously though, I plan on having those individuals back, and the ones that I cannot have them back because they have so much going on in their life and they're not able to. My goal is to release those as audio version.
Cool.
Not the video version, because the video version, the camera looked horrible, the setup was horrible, but the audio is okay. And plus the audio I can fix up and make it come out really good. So those will be occasionally, every now and then I'll drop one of those episodes.
Oh, that's exciting. I like that.
And it's going to be interesting. So yeah, so now I am at a point where I can invest in the camera that's needed. And also I also have created a lot of connections, including you. That time I didn't really know you. We didn't know each other like this. But now that I know you and we have this connection, we will be able to tap into your connections, my connections, to get incredible individuals on this podcast. But in respect of time, I wanted to get you involved. And first of all, let's talk about how we met, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
And I will let you tell your side of that story.
Sure. So I've been in public education for the last 15 years, and I was teaching at Lewiston High School for a nonprofit educational company. And we work with students with barriers to being successful in high school. And Abdimalik, you showed up one day with another coworker of mine, and you were hoping to promote a scholarship that you were offering. You were working for the college, I believe?
Yeah, I was working for Central Maine Community College, and the scholarship was a non-wildflower scholarship that the college was using to basically support individuals who are asylum seekers and were not getting financial aid, to be able to help them pay for college.
That's right. And I was working with seniors at the time. So it was a really perfect way to collaborate with one another, was for you to come in and talk about your program. And then so we sort of didn't, that was just a moment in time, really. And then turns out that I was offered a position at CMCC doing the same sort of work, but in the learning and advising office. So I was no longer going to be a classroom teacher. And lo and behold, I walk into that space, and there's Abdimalik sitting behind the desk.
Ta-da!
Man with 1,000 different jobs. You'll hear about them all. And
Yes.
and it was such a cool moment. It was really awesome. And then we've, I think, sort of developed a really interesting friendship, and where we could talk and ask questions that we had on our mind, and it was just really authentic. It was a great to bridge that friendship, or create that friendship. It was awesome.
Yes, and the thing that really, okay, so here's what happened. So I knew I always wanted to do this podcast, and at work, every now and then we're able to get a time to actually sit and talk and stuff like that. So since we had this connection, you were one of the first people at work that I told this idea of mine, wanting to start a podcast. I walk into the office, and then I tell you, and then one of the first things that you said was like, I'm going to be a co-host for you, or something along that line. Do you recall that?
Yes. I remember thinking, yes, actually, it's funny that you should ask me to do that, because
Oh, yes, that's what you did.
I've always wanted to have a podcast as well, but I don't have any understanding of media technology or anything like that. I can barely do a mail merge. So,
Yes.
so when you brought it to my attention, I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then you were like, haha, that's funny. No. And then you left. Oh my goodness, that's not nice.
Yeah.
But then it was 24 hours later that you marched back in. You're like, you know what? I think you have something there.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, because I was like, okay, at that time I was like jokingly, yeah, never going to happen that. But then when I went back, I was like, you know what? It would be, because one host podcasts are kind of good, but it's so much better to have another individual, especially you bring a whole different perspective to the conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, after I left your office, and then I started thinking about it, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you'd be dumb not to have her as a co-host. So I was like,
I am pretty great. Just so you know,
yes.
listener, I'm very great.
That's what you like you to think. But I was like, the more I thought about it, the more it just made sense to have you as a co-host. I mean, yes, it will be occasional co-host. You won't be able to join every episode, but there are some conversations that I really think you bring a whole different perspective to it. And I cannot wait for those episodes where you're involved and stuff like that. So, yeah. So here's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a lot of episodes scheduled and stuff like that. My goal is to have a new episode released every other week, if not every week. So definitely follow us. You'll get to hear more of our stories, okay? We'll go more deep into our stories and stuff like that in each episode, every other episode or whatever, whenever something that we can relate comes up or whatever, you will be able to share more about your
And
story
we'd
and
love to
stuff.
have, I think, not to get too social media about it, but we'd love to have comments on who you'd like to hear from in our
Yes.
community and around Lewiston, Auburn, Portland. Doesn't matter where in Maine. We're interested in hearing from a lot of different people and listening to stories.
Yes.
And I think that that's really what draws me to want to be a part of this podcast, because I just am very I love hearing stories and I love being inquisitive and asking questions. So where can we listen to us?
So yes, can we listen to us? Yes. If yeah, so you can watch and listen to this podcast. As far as watching, you can watch it on YouTube, Diverse Dash Narratives, or on Facebook, the same Diverse Dash Narratives, and then you can listen to it. Basically, all the podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, everywhere. Yes.
And it's at diverse
Dash
dash narratives.
Yes. That's the easiest way to find it. If you just Google diverse narratives, it once we start producing episodes and stuff like that, eventually Google will pick up. But right now, since we don't have any
It's
episodes
just
on
nothing but
there,
TED Talks.
it will just show you articles about diversity and
Yeah.
inclusion and stuff like that. And if you Google, if you search us on YouTube right now, you probably won't see the channel itself. But once we release the episodes and stuff like that and start taking advantage of the tags and stuff like that, you'll be able to find us pretty easy. And another thing that, yes, we are interested in interviewing any individuals that have overcome some type of hardship or have done something incredible for within the community and stuff like that.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm very excited to be able to talk to anybody that wants to talk to us. And I love hearing stories, and that's going to be excellent. And thank you for inviting me.
Yes. No, I'm seriously glad to have you. Seriously. Okay. So yeah, if everything goes to plan, the first episode will be premiering on April 10th. Yes.
Coming up.
Yes, coming up. So I'm really excited. I cannot wait for us to get this started. And yeah, like we said earlier, definitely check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Diverse Dash Narratives. Same on Facebook, same everywhere. You'll be able to find us on all the social media platforms eventually. So yeah, if you have any ideas for guests and stuff like that, just comment and let us know. Okay. And you can also email us at diversenarrativespodcast@gmail.com.
Good night. That seems long.
Yes,
It's okay.
I had to do it that way because when I was making this, Google was like taken. I'm like, what? All the diverse narratives things were taken. It was adding some random numbers. So
And
I'm
you
like,
thought you were being really intellectual about it.
yes.
Cerebral. Diverse narratives. Yes, no one's had that before. But Google said no.
Yes.
Here we are.
Yeah. So we really stuck with that. Okay. So with that being said, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to say yay.
So yeah, with that being said, we'll see you all in the first episode, which will be dropping on April 10th, not 9th, April 10th. Okay. We'll be dropping the first episode then, and we cannot wait to hear what you guys think of the first episode or what kind of ideas you guys have for us. And see you all in the first episode on April 10th.
Awesome.